finish this sentence if you could. In 10 years, I will be.
32 and, whoa, that's such a hard question.
Really?
It's like all my fears come out.
Well, let's get right to the CD because we have so much to talk about. But I should mention, I love your place.
Oh, thank you.
It is so pretty. Have
Thank
you
you.
enjoyed living here?
I love living here. We did so much construction and shopping and, you know, decorating this place to kind of seem magical and colorful, and it's one of those places I just love coming home to.
Do you entertain a lot? Do your friends come over and hang out?
Yeah,
They
it's kind
do?
of the designated place where my friends come. It's just fun. It's at the top of this tower overlooking the entire city, and my friends know I love to cook for them. I love to have everybody over and play loud music and have kitchen dance parties. So it's fun living here.
Are you a homebody for the most part?
It's sort of a balance. It's like I really love to, at the end of a really hard work day, just collapse into bed and watch TV for a couple hours. But then I'll also have times when I really like going out to dinner because I love restaurants. I love going out and being around people. It's kind of half and half.
Can you go out and about in Nashville? Can you go get your, can you go out and about in Nashville? Can you go get your pumpkin spice latte without people being like, shoo?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a social experience. It's always like, like I have to kind of like mentally prepare myself. Like, if you're walking out of this door and you're going out, people are going to talk to you. You're going to get pictures. Do you feel like that today? And if the answer is no, then it's like, turn around, go back inside. Like, if I'm having a bad day and I just like don't want to see people, then I shouldn't leave, because this is kind of what I brought on myself. Wanting to be a singer, wanting to sing on big stages, people are gonna ask for pictures, and like almost all the time it's like the most amazing feeling in the world. And then if you're having a day where you're like, oh, I can't talk to people today, I don't want to put on makeup today, I can't go outside.
Do you ever wear a baseball hat and sunglasses, a Groucho Marx mask?
People notice me because I'm really tall. Like, it's just kind of like, and then I would feel so stupid if I was like trying to trick people. They're like, how lame is that? She's trying to hide from us and she thinks we're dumb and we're gonna like not see the fact that she's wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap. I don't know, I guess when I see celebrities like try to go all incognito, it's like, look at me, don't look at me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
People notice the get-up more than they notice the celebrity most of the time. They're like, who's that dude that's like trying to look like, like he's running from the cops and he's like trying not to be noticed. Oh, that's a celebrity. Whatever.
So let's talk about your new album. Your new album, Red, was 2 years in the making, and you're just coming out of, I guess, the gestation period of creativity, right? And you're looking forward to sharing what you've created. Is this a really nerve-wracking time for you?
Almost every time for me is a nerve-wracking time for me, because I will find the pressure in every situation and think about it, because I love to plan for things. I love to think about the future. I love to be prepared. I love to, daydream about possibilities, but with daydreams come the reality of how do I make that happen. So with an album coming out that I've worked on for 2 years, I'm stressed. I'm no more stressed than usual, though, because I'm always stressing about something. And my life has become sort of a constant balancing act between, like hope and fear, and like faith and worrying, and like, being nervous about this album I've worked really hard on, and like being proud of this album I've worked really hard on. So it's just like, it's a balancing act, but I'm mostly excited.
I would wonder, gee, it's my 4th album, how is it going to stack up against the other ones?
I think about that too.
You don't want to be the Harper Lee of music. I guess you weren't after
I
your
would
second
be the
album.
Harper Lee of anything.
But you know what I mean? Like you do one great thing, and then how am I going to top it? How am I going to even match it?
I think that was my biggest fear when I was putting out Speak Now, my last album, because we'd had such luck at the Grammys winning Album of the Year, and it was such an amazing experience we had with my album Fearless, which was kind of like a breakout album for me. And so there was a lot of pressure on my next album, Speak Now, and I decided to write it all by myself, just to be like, I can do this. I know I can do this. I'm gonna just absolutely pour everything I have into trying to do this alone. And although it was a really challenging prospect, it was also very lonely, and sometimes I'd hit a wall and I'd just be like, I don't know the way around this. I want to ask someone for their opinion. And when it came time to make my fourth album, I thought, you know, I have two choices. I can make this album the same way I've made the first three, or I can make it in a completely different way than I've made anything before. And I can indulge those curiosities I've always had about how does Max Martin come up with those melodies? How does Jeff Basker make those drum beats? How does Dan Wilson come up with those lyrics? Like, being in the studio with people like that, it taught me so much about expanding what I do. You know, taking what I know how to do and going in a different direction than I would think of.
And I know the last thing you want to be called is predictable, right?
Yeah, we've talked about this. That's like a huge fear of mine. I never want people to say, oh, Taylor's putting out another record. It's probably going to be the same old thing. And it's just, I don't ever want to be something that is the same every time. But then again, it's really important for me, for my fans to trust me and to not go so far in the opposite direction that they don't recognize me anymore. And they're like, what is this music? This is like a completely different artist. We don't understand. What are you doing? So I think rather than an overt move to try to make a departure, it's trying to make a progression. It's trying to evolve. It's trying to try new things without becoming a new thing.
And that's why you cast this wide net and knew there were so many people you wanted to work with and really collaborated with people, although you wrote a lot of these songs yourself, right? 22,
Yeah.
22 to start with. You had to winnow it down to 16.
Yeah, we had about 30 songs.
30?
That I wrote for the record, and I had to narrow it down to 16. And, you know, there are a lot of collaborations being talked about on the record, but there are 6 songs that I co-wrote and 10 that I wrote by myself. So it's kind of a lot of the solo writing still, because my life is the way my life is. I travel around the world. I write songs at 4 in the morning. There's no one to call to say, hey, you want to help me work on this? So I end up writing a lot by myself.
Do you still sing the lyrics into your iPhone? When
the
I
time.
interviewed you, I guess, gosh, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you said you take your iPhone and you just sing into it, and that's how you start to write songs?
Yeah, and all of my friends can tell you the exact moment they first saw that happen, because it's really weird. Because I'll get an idea, I don't have time to say to the person I'm with, hey, I gotta go do this real quick. I just pick up my phone, I go to a corner of the room, and I'm like, like just this weird fragment of like melody, a few words, kind of like some beat. Like, it's really, you don't want to listen to them. They're weird.
They must be like, what is she doing?
And they'll be like, was that what I think it was? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna write that tonight. It's no big deal. Don't make it a big deal.
So is that how you do most of them, or has your songwriting evolved? Do you do it any other way, or pretty much that's the seed of every new song?
That's pretty much what happens. You know, there's always a voice memo going. When I'm in a co-write, when I'm, you know, alone and I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm just like, I grab my phone and I just kind of hum something into it, or I say a line. The unpredictable thing about songwriting is I always get a different bit of inspiration. It's always, you know, it's like maybe it'll be a lyric, or maybe it'll be a lyric and some sort of melody. Maybe it'll be a new beat that I haven't thought of, or something for like maybe the first line of a pre-chorus. It's like you get one puzzle piece and you have to build out.
Well, how do you get inspired? I'm so curious, because I think songwriting is such an interesting art form. And are you walking on the street, do you see a couple, or is it mostly internal experiences that you've had, or do you ever see something that sparks some lyrics, or how does it work?
It could be anything. It could be, you know, your best friend and her boyfriend get in a fight, and you watch them, how they resolve it, and you think, wow, you know, that could make a really great perspective of a song. Or you're watching a movie and the visuals are just these beautiful colors that inspire this kind of feel to a song that you want to capture. Like, what would that couple in that movie, what would their song be? and you can write from that perspective. Or you can look at your own life, which is what I mostly do, and just write open letters to people.
Some that you like and some that you don't.
Some of them are nice letters, and some of them are letters that are much more brutally honest.
So it's like a burn book in music.
Only if it's deserved. Yeah. No, kind of, maybe.
Let's talk about well, before we talk about the title of the album, because I know we've been joking about that, but you, just as you've expanded with your collaborations on this album, you're also doing some duets with some people. Tell me about that and how you chose those folks.
There is an artist named Ed Sheeran who I've been so obsessed with. His record is so good. I've been listening to it for the last 6 months or so, and I wanted to write with him for the album, and it turned out he was reaching out to write with me at the same time. So we ended up writing and recording the song as a duet. It's about falling in love and meeting someone and realizing that everything in your life has changed just by meeting that one person. Your whole perspective and the way that you see the world is different now. And we were in the studio recording that with Butch Walker producing, and Ed said to me, "Hey, I really want you to meet my friend Gary. I know you're a fan of his music. Can you stop by?" And I said, Gary, who's Gary from Snow Patrol, my favorite band? And he's like, "Yeah, it's, you know." I'm like, "Yes, have him stop by." He stops by, he's totally cool, listens to the song that Ed and I recorded, and he goes, "I want to write with you. I want to write for your record." And so we ended up scheduling a date to write a few weeks later and recording another duet about a completely different thing, about this guy who keeps leaving his girlfriend and she keeps taking him back, and it's the conflict of whether or not she should give him another chance and him begging for one. It's really intense.
A different sort of take on we will never ever get back together.
You know, I think for me, the idea of the on and off relationship is kind of a new experience in the last 2 years. And there are a lot of different emotions that go into that. There's the kind of tumultuous desperation and pining away and wanting to let someone back in, but you can't because he hurts you. And that whole drama, that whole ridiculous, dramatic situation, the way that plays out. But it's valid. Those are valid emotions, and writing a song about that was important to me. Then there's the moment where you just stop caring, and you write a song like "We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together," and then you know you're over it.
You still are fascinated by love, I know. Sort of the idea of falling in love, falling out of love, or experiencing heartbreak, and then beginning again, right? Why is that? Why does that sort of, I guess most songs really are about love when it comes down to it, but what is it about it that makes it such rich material for you?
I think for me, love is the ultimate quest. It's the ultimate storyline. You know, everyone out there is somewhat interested in being loved, in being cared for in some way, in finding the other person for them. You know, and I think that in so many cases you see it go wrong and you can't figure out why, and you know, from the time that we're really young, we're fascinated by the idea of finding someone who cares about us. And you know, that's why you end up having such heartbreaking first loves and such terrible, horrible loss feelings when you first experience, you know, a breakup. And throughout your life, as you go through that, I like to write songs for people in those moments. I like to be, you know, hopefully the person who they turn on in their bedroom the first time someone stands them up, or doesn't call them back when they said they would, or tells them that they want someone else. You know, it's like, I think that, and when you're falling in love, those are the moments you need music the most.
Because it's such intense emotion that you're experiencing during all those moments.
It's intense emotion that you don't want to think you're the only person going through it. You don't want to feel like, I'm the only person who's ever felt this kind of desperation. You just want to know someone else is going through it. And for me, it's my fans when they tell me, I love that song. And for my fans, it's them listening to the song, feeling like, you know, we've been through the same thing.
Why is the album called Red?
The album is called Red because I got the idea to call the album Red when I wrote a song called Red. And it's comparing the different emotions that I went through in this particular breakup to colors. And the chorus says, losing him was blue like I'd never known. Missing him was dark gray all alone. Forgetting him was like trying to know somebody you've never met, but loving him was red. And it's about the fact that red is the representative color of love and passion and infatuation and intrigue. And on the other side of it, anger and frustration and confusion and jealousy. And, you know, they're opposite sides of the spectrum, opposite ends, but it's all red.
You did a webcast about the new album, and you told your fans that when it comes to the emotions that you write about, you say they're all pretty much about the kind of tumultuous, insane, and crazy, intense, semi-toxic relationships that I've experienced in the last 2 years.
To put it lightly.
Yeah. Gee, that doesn't sound like a very fun 2 years, Miss Taylor Swift.
Well, it starts out fun, you know? I mean, you wouldn't mourn the loss of a relationship if it wasn't awesome at first, you know, whether that's for a few days or for a few months or whatever. I mean, there's always got to be like a little bit of glimmer of good for a relationship to go bad for you to miss it and for you to write about it.
Wait, sorry, let me just skip this. What songs from the album are you particularly excited about singing on stage?
There's a song on the album called I Knew You Were Trouble that talks about a particular kind of heartbreak that I haven't sung about before. It's a song I wrote with Max Martin and Johann Shellback, and I thought of this chorus after I'd felt this really unique emotion where instead of saying, shame on you, you broke my heart, I just said to myself, shame on me. I knew that guy was bad news, and I went for it anyway. It's like, I have only myself to blame for that. Shame on me. And so that song is really intense. It sounds really chaotic. It's a huge departure from what I usually do, but it sounds like that emotion felt.
How did you feel when Hanson covered your song? Apparently that was a huge internet sensation.
I felt so fantastically excited. I was freaking out. I used to stay up late to watch Hanson perform on all the late night talk shows when I was a little kid. I would like tape everything they did on TV. I was such a huge fan. And you know, for Hanson to cover We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, it's just like the ultimate for me. It's like, what more do I need? What more do you ever need?
You, I know you're inspired by a lot of other music, and in writing this album, Rolling Stone called this album, I think, your most eclectic, you know, work yet. So you have a lot of different, I think, music influencing your songwriting in this album. So what are you listening to these days? I know you like Lil Wayne.
I do, yeah, for sure.
And Rihanna.
And Nicki Minaj, and Wiz Khalifa, and at the same time, I like, you know, like on the other side of things, I like that new song Cruise that's on country radio by Florida Georgia Line, and I like One Republic's new single, and I like downloading things that are good. And I don't really have a gauge for what genre they fall into or how they're defined category-wise. I just like music if it's good.
Have you ever met Lil Wayne?
No, I think I was supposed to sit next to him at an award show, and then he ended up moving to a different seat, and I was like, okay, because I was really nervous about that. Pressure's off. I was really nervous about that. I get really nervous when I'm a huge fan of someone and I just like don't want to mess up or say something wrong, and if I don't meet them, then I can't say something wrong. You know?
He's really nice and really fun and actually very intelligent.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
When I interviewed him, he kept saying, "I'm a gangster, Miss Katie."
Can I start saying that, please? Like, for everything that you ask me? Oh my God, it's amazing.
All right. Didn't I have to, Janice, I'm keeping going, but there was a question that I needed to ask Taylor that all the people are being asked about. Who's your favorite country artist?
Female country artist.
Okay. Sorry, since we're on the topic of what you're listening to, Taylor, who is your favorite female country artist?
My favorite female country artist is Faith Hill. She always has been a role model for me, and I think the times in my life when it was most important for me to have a role model were when I was, 10 to 13, and she was there as a role model. And now, when I'm 22 and I'm looking at the idea of the next 20 years of my life, including family and balancing things, and she is the ultimate definition of graceful balance. And I like having someone to look up to.
Did you see her rockin' Janis Joplin?
No. When did that happen?
Yeah, she what was that? The VMAs, you guys, or there was some concert.
I feel like,
A
I was at
little
the
piece
VMAs,
of my
I went-
heart. That song, isn't
Oh,
that Janis
cool.
Joplin?
yeah, you know what? It was the Music Fest, CMA Music Fest.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
you've got to watch it. She
Yeah.
was amazing. First
That's
of all,
awesome.
she looked incredible and she sounded fantastic.
Amazing.
Singing Janis Joplin, I mean, that's
Wow.
pretty impressive. You said to your fans during your webcast, Taylor, that when you're writing an album, your, quote, world becomes a big storyboard and everyone in it becomes a character. All my friends and family members and everyone around me knows that. If that's the case, is it sometimes hard to get people to come into your world? Because I don't know, if I hung out with you, I'd be a little afraid you were going to write a song about me.
It's not hard. It's not, I mean, I have a big fear of ending up scared of people and like guarded and not trusting people. One of my favorite things in life is making new friends. And so I make new friends all the time. And I feel like if you can't trust someone, they're going to show you within a matter of weeks or months. So you might as well just let as many people into your life as possible. If they can teach you something, if they can be fun to hang out with, they can make you happy. But I've never had any one of them say, I was really, really like weary of coming here because like you write lyrics about your life and man, that's like crazy. Like it's never.
They're okay with that.
It's never been an issue. The only time that's been an issue is when I was like going through a really bad breakup with the guy and he's like, you better not write about this. And I'm like, oh, I won't.
Did you?
Yes.
But you never tell anybody who you're writing about. I mean, I know you have fun with it because people sort of speculate, they imagine, they think they get clues.
They kind of draw their own stories.
You're wearing a scarf in a music video and everyone's like, gee, that scarf looks like the scarf she was wearing when she was photographed with Jake Gyllenhaal, perhaps. And, it's funny, right?
For me, the one thing that I keep really close is the identity of who these songs are about. I never reveal who exactly I've written the song about. There are details revealed in lyrics because for me, I just kind of happen to gravitate towards being really truthful in my songs. But no, I never talk about it in the press, like, oh, this one's about this dude. And the interesting thing about some songs is that some songs are inspired by a few different people who said different things at different times.
So not about one person, but an amalgam.
Most of them are about one person, but sometimes you'll have a song that will be inspired by a few different events or a few different people. And so it's hard to decide who the main inspiration behind that is.
I know I asked you this before, but just so I have it sitting here, Taylor, do you ever hear from these people who maybe recognize themselves in a song and are like, hi, guess what? I really didn't appreciate that.
Well, they don't say it that gracefully or that with that kind of an eloquent tone, and it's usually not on the phone.
It's usually an email.
Sometimes there are emails. But, I mean, at that point, if they're not liking what's written about them or what they think is written about them or what they assume and presume is about them, then first of all, I probably hit the nail right on the head. It's probably really true. And I definitely portrayed it the way that it happened if they recognize themselves in the song enough to get mad about it.
But aren't you afraid this will scare people off? That someone's thinking, I'd really like to go out with Taylor Swift. I think she's really great. But what if it doesn't work out? And if it doesn't, am I going to be written about in a song and everyone's going to know about it? I don't know. If I were a guy, I'd be a little wary.
Well, I mean, if they're having those conversations with other people and deciding not to approach me, then I don't know about it. So, you know, if someone, I don't know about all the people who don't ask me out because I write songs, but of the people who do come into my life, it's never been much of an issue.
So far.
So far.
Let me ask, yeah?
I'm so sorry. We have about 5 minutes.
Okay. Let me ask you about the international aspect of the album. I know We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together became a #1 single in 30 countries. So when you write these songs these days, because you have become such an international star, do you think, gee, how's this going to play in Brazil?
It can't help but influence you when you're spending half your year in Europe and Asia and Brazil and Canada and places outside of America. Going to Australia all the time, being everywhere else seeps into your music. You know, you listen to the radio there, you are curious about what they're listening to, and it broadens the kind of music that you make. And finishing this record, I just couldn't wait to go play it for the fans in the UK. I couldn't wait to go play it for the fans in Japan. I am so excited for them to hear this music because they've been so wonderful to us. And getting, 5 European VMA nominations and the success of this single already is just blowing my mind.
It seems when there's an artist like you who's a country artist, the big debate is, has she gone too pop? Is she still country? What do you make of all that?
I think it's fun for people to talk about.
Because it seems like so many artists like yourself are crossover artists, and that country isn't so strictly country anymore. Is that a fair assessment?
I think what makes music country is the storyline that's woven throughout it. I mean, that's what attracted me to country music, the fact that you're being painted such a vivid picture. You're seeing what you're hearing because they're describing it in such a way that makes you believe them. These are people who are singing about their lives, and for a lot of artists, their life is reflected in their music when they sing about back roads or trucks or beer or, like that sort of thing, and that's them accurately portraying their life. My life is like feelings and emotions and breakups and more feelings. So that's accurately portrayed. And I think, the question of what's country and what isn't is a way of putting things in a neat little box. And I just don't really think of music that way. I want music to sound the way that it felt when I felt it.
So what do you say to people when they say, are you a country artist or are you pop? What do you say?
I say, yeah, I'm a country artist. Nashville's my home. And I happen to like to paint with a lot of colors, musically.
That's a good answer. I was going to ask you about your age because you'll be 23 in December, right?
Yes.
And I'm just curious about, as you make this transition from kind of teen star, teen queen, and because you became really well known when you were how old, Taylor? 16.
Kind of 18-ish.
But now you're growing up, and you are evolving, and you're maturing. And how do you kind of transition from that young girl to a more mature artist? And is that something you think about?
I think about it, but I think about it in a natural way. I think that growing up is something that should happen on its own, and it's something that should happen gradually over time. I think a mistake that sometimes gets made when there's pressure to grow up, all of a sudden you have an album and a new look and a crazy direction, and you're like, you look at that artist and you think, you didn't have to grow up 10 years in a month. No, that wasn't what you had to do. Like,
You didn't have to go boom.
yeah, I think aside from all of this, I want to live a life, and I want to live my life 1 year at a time. And when I'm 22, I want to be 22. When I'm 23, I want to be 23. Whatever that is, whatever that constitutes. I mean, at 18, no, I wasn't in school anymore. I was touring and traveling, but I acted like an 18-year-old, and I didn't have to act 30. I didn't want to act 30, and so right now I'm trying to act 22 and define what that is every day, and hopefully I'll do the same at 23.
You were on the Forbes list for, the most successful people under 30. I think you were number 1, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really, really exciting.
It's crazy.
Is it enough to be a great singer, songwriter, performer, or do you have to be somebody who can market yourself and actually develop a whole brand?
I don't think it's something you have to do, but it's something I'm interested in doing because it's really fun to get to have other creative outlets. I think that for me, having a fragrance line was something I always thought would be the coolest thing when I was a kid. And going through that whole process and learning about what that industry is like, it helps you experience things you never would have gotten to experience had you not branched out and tried it. And if you try something outside of music that you don't like, then you don't do it again. It's really amazing to have fans that trust me, and I feel like we have a really close relationship, and they know I'm not going to put something out that I don't love. So, becoming a brand is something that happens the second you put out one song. It's whether you like it or not. You're making art. We're all making music. You become a brand as soon as you sell one thing. So you can either recognize it and embrace it, or you can deny it and pretend it's not happening.
But it has been fun for you, kind of exploring all different kinds of outlets.
Yeah, I mean, I spend so much time in meetings deciding what the font size is going to be on the corner of the album, or what new t-shirt designs we're going to be selling at the shows. And going from that kind of a meeting to a meeting where we're discussing the financial side of it with business managers, and then you go to a different meeting where you're planning a stage, and you find yourself learning so much. And I think that's what's so exciting about all this for me, is getting to learn that much.
Which is great, too, to have that kind of intellectual curiosity. Taylor, I'm going to have to ask you about the love of your life, right?
Meredith.
How did you know I was going to do that?
She's just a little fuzzy cat, and she's so cute.
So, we wanted to use that as a little funny promo thing, Didn't you think that was funny? That was Janice's idea. So, seriously, didn't you put something online of you petting the cat and it got over 1 million views or something?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the thing about Meredith is she's just a cat, so she has no idea she's really kind of famous. It's hilarious. Like, I wanted a pet, and so I just kind of tweet pictures to my fans and show them like the kitten that I got, and all of a sudden it's being talked about, and it was on some pop culture icons list. She was #1, and it made me so happy. But it's just like I wanted a cat, and she goes everywhere with me, and it's awesome.
I know you don't talk about your personal life, and I want to respect that. But I also know that people are so fascinated by everything you're doing. And I admire the way that you do live a life. You enjoy your life. You spend time with people you want to spend time with. And you may write about them, but you don't like to talk about them. Why are you so private about that?
I think, for me, I just think that my personal stories sound better in a song than in an interview, in quotes. I just think that it sounds much better put to music so that my fans can know exactly what I felt and what I was going through. And they know that they're going to hear it from me. And when they're reading those gossipy blogs or whatever, they know that's not me talking. They know they're going to hear what really happened from me when the next record comes out. And, it is about living a life. And it's not about, what gossip is, currently online, because I don't read any of that stuff.
Ever?
Not really, ever. I just have a huge priority on being happy. And for me, happiness does not include like Googling myself and checking what the minute-to-minute perception of me is right now. I would much rather focus on the things that I love, not the things that scare me.
Can I just make one observation, though? It seems like you had a really fun summer. Is that accurate?
It was a great summer. The single came out and did so well, made the album. It was a great summer.
You.
I'm a gangster, Miss Katie.
All right, let me ask you one last question, because I thought that was really cute in Vogue, which I told you I really liked that article, where you kind of wrote the things you've learned and sort of what doesn't work and what works for you. What do you look for in a relationship?
I don't really look for them, you know? I think that I've become really good at being on my own. So when I know it's like speculated that I have like, it's just like boyfriendcity.com. But like, I don't typically date a lot. It's just sort of like something that happens if it happens. It's not like boyfriend patrol, like looking for the next one or something. And I think for me, it's never about looking for something or having something similar about all the people you like or having a type. I just there's something about certain people, and I think that's how it works for most people. You don't really know what you're looking for. I mean...
But I guess what qualities do you look for in a person?
I look for the same qualities in everybody that I want to surround myself with. My friends, people who I want to be in my life. I want them to be honest and good, and people that I could trust, people that could be there for me, people who are funny and kind of live life in a carefree way, but are also like take responsibility for who they are and what they do and what they say. And I think for me, it's just I want to be around people who make me want to be better. My friends are everything to me, and the people around me determine who I am and who I'm going to turn into. So I want them to be good people.
Finish this sentence, and then they're going to kill me because this is the last thing, but finish this sentence if you could. In 10 years, I will be...
32 and... 32 and... Whoa, that's such a hard question.
Really?
It's like all my fears come out.
Like what?
Like losing everything, like losing my friends and my family, and like ending up alone and crying and stuff.
Let's take a more positive approach.
At 32, in 10 years, I will hopefully either have a family or know when I want to have one or something. You know, I think, I see little kids and I'm just like, oh my God, someday. But not for a while, maybe in 10 years.
And professionally?
I have no idea. I just really don't want to do this after people get tired of me. I want to know when that line is. I want to always be really conscious and self-aware about if I'm overstaying my welcome. And if I overstay my welcome, I'll go write songs for other people and, collect mailbox money and write like a novel or something.
And still focus on being happy.
Yeah, I really want to end up happy. That's the biggest thing for me is I want to end up being a happy person with a happy life.
Perfect. Okay, that was great. They're going to go. That was great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Taylor. That was so nice. You knew what I was doing with Meredith.
Oh my God. It's because it was perfect. Because I knew, I was like, she's never gonna ask me about my personal life. She's not gonna do it.